Okay, everyone. Yes, this is your brother, your soul brother Talib coming at you. Um, and I would like to take a moment for this video, which is going to be titled "Tribute to Soul Brother DMX." And I just want to take a little time out to speak about this brother who was inspirational, in a lot of people's lives, more than, you know what I'm saying, I even thought personally myself. Now back in the 90s when he was more popular, you know, making rap songs and stuff like that, you know, uh, you know, uh, I didn't really particularly always listen to a lot of his songs, but it was certain songs I did listen to by him. And, I heard his music playing on the radio all the time for over the number of years, far as I could remember. And, you know, uh, I do want to expand for a moment on this personal encounter I had with our brother. Years ago when I was back home still living in my hometown of Detroit, Michigan at this particular time, and I was at a friend's place of business. And so DMX and I guess his Rough Rider chapter crew that was based in Detroit at that time happened to pull up in to the store, cause DMX wanted to buy a couple of things up in there in the clothing store. And so he got to chatting with us, and of course the owner, which was a friend of mine named Chester Flemings, and they took a picture together. And then as DMX, you know, bought whatever he had purchased at the time up in there, he was leaving out the store and he saw me standing at the glass booth counter, one of the front glass booth counters, right soon as you walk in and out of the store. And I had a mixtape with different songs by him on it. And the CD was kind of a little scratched up, but it was still able to play good. And so, I would sometimes, walk around, playing that CD in the personal Walkman I had with me whenever I leave outside the house, And so, anyway, he looked at the CD and he saw his name on it, written on it. And he asked me, he said, could I sell him that CD for $20? He was willing to actually give me $20 for the CD. And I was like, kind of, cause I was at the time real passionate into that CD, because some of the songs he had on there was and is still, as they say in the hood, dope, and I declined to sell it. So the brother, he got a little feisty about it. I have to say that. But it was all good though. It was still love, And he ended up going across the street from the place of business where I had encountered him at, and they had a Popeyes chicken right across the street. So he went over there with his crew, got something to eat, and was sitting down eating. I went up in there, and I think 'cause some guys had sent me over there to get something to eat, and so as I was going in there, he nodded, he looked at me, nodded his head at me. I guess to let me know, hey, probably in the back of his mind, I know since you ain't sell me the CD, but it's still love, bro. And I was feeling that. And real recognize real, especially when you from the streets. And so, of course, you know, I was partially raised in the tri-state New York City area, you know, throughout a couple of the boroughs, couple of the five boroughs there, which was Manhattan and the Bronx, and of course Bronx. The Bronx is the most closest to Yonkers, New York, where he came from, than any of the other five boroughs out of New York City. And so anyway, you know, I I related to him in that way, and plus me and him being around the same age, cause he died the day at 50, and I'm 52, finna turn 53, so I ain't nothing but a couple of years older than him. But we from that same generation and era, and like I said, I remember when he first got popular in the late 90s, and at that time, I was doing time. I was incarcerated. I forget the name of the album, the first album, but it was the top #1 seller, I believe, back in 1998, the very first album where he got real popular on. And, like I said, from then, his career took from there at that point, and he became known to the world as he still is, which is DMX. And so, now, his other name, his government name, Earl Simmons, I would later come to find out about that too. But I always, of course, like everybody else, knew him as DMX. And, another reason why I chose to do this video is because I want to touch up on not so much as far as his music career, but I want to touch up on his situation with drug addiction primarily, because what that man went through, I could definitely 100% relate to and identify with. And, I am still a recovering ex-addict myself, okay? And also, I know the dark places that drug addiction, especially when you addicted to a drug like crack, will, I know the dark places that would take you. And it took me, unfortunately, into some dark places. And of course, it led me twice to the penitentiary. And it also caused me a couple of times to actually have a close call with death, And so, I already know, you know what I'm saying, what that brother's story is about, basically. Although, other than what I saw in this documentary, this tribute documentary that BET just did on him today, which went more in detail about what he went through as far as his drug addiction was concerned, But this man was always a fighter. and he never gave up. Even when record companies early in his career did not choose to want to accept him as a client, and even at one period of time when he was cut off by his own brand called Rough Riders, but eventually he came back, and he shined just like a diamond, a polished diamond gem, you know, and that story in itself right there alone let me know that what he went through, if anybody is strong and got the will and fortitude not to give up on life, they could succeed just as well as he was able to succeed despite his own hang-ups in life, And I, you know, I really, now more that I'm getting to even know about the brother through watching documentaries and hearing his story more, I am, you know, more inspired by him to want to continue on my quest of recovery. And not so much as far as from drugs, but just in life in general, because you only get one life, and that's the reality of it. Regardless of what other people would say, especially if they coming from a form of some type of religious belief system. Far as I've always known, because I never heard nobody come back from the dead to talk about any other type of life they experience. But I do know that in this life, you only get one. And I realized that as I reflect on this brother's death, I have to live it to the fullest, and I, I really, I identify. I mean, even though, I was out there in the streets caught up like he was, but we did go down a little few different paths, Our paths, like with anybody else, wasn't exactly the same, but it was similar enough to understand and know that, hey, I'm still here. Just like he was still here until he could no longer breathe, And I know one day, just like with anybody else, including him, my time is gonna come. But I want people, of course, to remember me in the positive light, despite my own hang-ups and my past, and he's an inspiration. And one thing about it, because me and him is around the same age bracket, you see, and we come from the same generation. I ain't nothing but, like I said, a couple of years older than him. And I was, he was just a couple of years younger than me, and like I said, the same paths he crossed with people on the street, with the same type of people. I crossed the same similar type of people, far as paths went. One thing I respect about DMX is that, far as his musical career went and his entertainment career went, he didn't sell out. I just have to put it out there like that. He didn't sell out like a lot of them other rappers in the industry did. Whether it came to, selling as some would say, soul, or selling their integrity or their own self-respect just for $1. He wasn't that kind of brother. And I know, as a testament that many can acknowledge that fact. And whether they don't want to acknowledge that fact, that's their problem too. But I'm pretty sure those that knew him and was close to him definitely acknowledged that. And I'm 1000% in concurrence with that. Because that man didn't sell out. And I'm talking about with some of the greatest legends in hip hop that came around in his era. Right around the exact same time, even competing with him. You know what I'm saying? Basically, turned their backs on where they came from. And that's one thing he didn't do. And I can't do nothing but respect the realness of that. Because, and like I seen in the documentary they did on him today, where they said that he would just stop and even talk to bombs or homeless people or derelicts on the street. Not just like someone would say, give them money, but would spend time. Give them his time, you know what I'm saying? And what celebrity or how many celebrities like him do we know that would be willing to do something like that, especially when you dealing with the average person on the streets, especially that's downtrodden. You see what I'm saying? So, that really made me, reflect more on him as being an inspiration, And especially another thing I want to point out too about the brother is that when they was going back and going into the details about his childhood upbringing, I definitely relate to that. I went through, like he did, group homes or boys home, or sometime run away from home, because of the dysfunctional household that I was raised under, and all that good stuff, Why even at 8 years old, I had to start learning how to understand what it was to be grown on the streets. You know what I'm saying? And that's just the reality of it. Matter of fact, at that time in New York City, during some of the years while I was raised at, during my childhood era days, and I I actually had to, at an early age, around that time, I had to actually learn how to understand what it was to be a grown man. Because it was definitely uncertain of how long I would even be up under my parents' roof. It was one of them type of situations, And so I had to learn how to be a grown man then. Little did I even know at the time, or that I knew at the time, and when I heard about DMX, going through what he went through as a child, I said, whoa, wait a minute. I said, damn, that sound like me, you know? You know what I'm saying? And, of course, far as the lifestyle he went through on the streets, especially prior before he got recognized as a popular rap musician throughout the world, say he was out there taking and breaking. That's what they call it in the NYC, He was taking and breaking, and and even to the point where he even used, I saw where they say he used dogs to rob people. He didn't even need a gun. He actually used dogs, pit bulls, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn, this is a bad man. and so I'm thinking to myself, damn, I'm saying to myself, man, yeah, this brother here, he took some definitely hellified chances in life, you know, and see, I look at that as a testament and even relate to that because there's a lot of stuff I did, you know, that I still shouldn't even be here talking about. I shouldn't even be here on the video even talking, you know. That's how bad it was, you see. you know. I mean, I could have ended up in prison with a longer sentence, even with a life sentence, or like someone said, down 6 feet under. I mean, it was just that way, And so, I mean, this life ain't nothing lightly to be taken for granted as, This ain't no game. Life is real, and I mean, shoot, when I seen the documentary they did on him, man, I'm like, damn, this brother here, and honestly, sometimes I think I should just went on and sold him that CD, not so he could, get out of my face or whatever, but just for the just out of humbleness, because I could always get plenty of CDs by him with his songs on it. But I could admit I was probably being a little selfish at that time. But I guess that was his way of letting me know, hey, bruh, I know you just another brother like me from the streets. And that's how he actually came at me, you know. He wasn't like none of them other, peers of his in the rap music industry or the entertainment industries that walk around people like myself with their head up in the air, with their nose stuck in the air, like, they don't know something under their feet exists. You see what I'm saying? I mean, and he wasn't nothing like that. And you have far, few, and many between him, like him, you know? And honestly, I'm not no celebrity clout chaser either, you know? But the only reason I made a video, like I said, about him, because he had characteristics and experiences that I could identify with, especially as another black man born and living in America like he was, okay? A soul brother who was also like myself, a dark-skinned descendant of a slave born in America, okay? So, yeah, that's mainly my primary intention of me even making this video, because of the things that I could definitely relate with that brother on. May he rest in peace. And like I said, the only other time I remember making one other video that I could remember was a little while ago. And that was about Brother Bobby Brown. So Brother Bobby Brown, as y'all know, who was married to the late Whitney Houston, and also who was the father of the late Bobby Christie Houston, and the only reason cause I shared common, I, in terms of identifications with him, cause he was also an ex-drug addict, and me and him at the time were around similar circles down there in Atlanta, Georgia, during right before the New Jack Swing era, when he was, still, big off that hit called My Prerogative, you know what I'm saying? And so, and I remember, like I was even expressing that short video about him, that me and him was incarcerated in this same particular jail down there in Atlanta at that same particular time period, and so but other than that, I don't usually get on social media, you know what I'm saying, making videos like that about celebrities. That ain't my thing, and y'all who know me know that ain't what I'm about. But this was just so touching, about DMX, man, because I mean, the brother, he went through, and I mean, I don't even try to get into comparing celebrities or nothing like that either, but I would have to honestly say, in my opinion, in my own personal opinion, that because I have been an activist and looking at the late rapper Tupac Amaru Shakur, who was born into the struggle as far as activism went, and then for him to switch up like he did, which of course unfortunately led to his demise, which many people don't want to really acknowledge because they're that much of a personality worshiper. But I would say this, that honestly, I think DMX was more realer than Tupac in his own way, because he never, bent over. Like I said, he never bent over in terms, like I say, he gave away money. Like they said, he gave away money to bombs on the street. He didn't cherish his wealth. Like even who's a brother who just got interviewed in the documentary, just said he didn't believe in riding around in Lamborghinis, Mercedes-Benz limousines and all that, camera action lights, trying to play Flash Gordon. He wasn't into that, He always straight up looked just like he came from the hood, which is where he came from. And he always kept it basically strictly like that, more so. You know what I'm saying? Whenever I guess he didn't have to conduct other professional business where he had to dress a different way. You see what I'm saying? But he was always strictly street with it. And that's how I saw him when I personally ran into him back in Detroit over 10 years ago, So, like I said, hey, I call the ace of spades like it is, and I don't too much get off into caring who agree with it and who don't. Because I base whatever I say on facts and realness. And like someone say from this platform, I keeps it real. So I don't really, have time to be faking and shuffling and jiving. When I speak what's on my mind, and I just keep it straight up real like that, And so, yeah, man. But going back to this topic, I'm like, man, it kind of. When I heard about his heart attack and I was like, man, I really wish the brother didn't have to go. I truly didn't, because he was an inspiration in many people's lives, and I wish he didn't have to go. Excuse me for a second, audience. Okay, back at you again. But yeah, like I was saying, I mean, damn. And one of them things where he cried from the stage at one of the concerts they showed, one of his old concerts they showed a little clipping glitch of where he was crying and the fans was in the audience crying with him and all that. But and I'm not looking at that once again as a idol worshiping thing. I'm just looking at that from a perspective of the realness that the man had about himself. You know, cause even in that moment, though that video they showed was probably years ago, but especially when he was really popular as a Rough Rider rap artist, I I felt that emotionally in a way myself because I know what the tears was coming out of his eyes over. I know why the tears was coming out of his eyes, and they wasn't no fake tears. And that's what I'm talking about. They wasn't no fake tears. Those was real tears. And you know, it like kind of made me want to cry. Like, damn, because I know the pain he was feeling. You know, I'm talking about the pain of that addiction, that same dark place where he came from, where he got started from at 14. And I started smoking weed around that age where I was 13. And of course went on to doing other things as far as drugs was concerned. But, yeah. And that was, I would say, and I usually don't cuss in my commentaries, but I would say that was fucked up for a guy he looked up to as a mentor to introduce him to crack cocaine like that by giving him a mixed lace joint. That was fucked up. I mean, and I mean, honestly, you know, uh, I mean, the dude denied it, but hey, you know, I don't see any reason why Soul Brother DMX would lie about something like that either. So I'm gonna leave it at that. But yeah, that's crazy. You know, and you know, because when you get on them drugs, it ain't really no turning back unless you're a real strong individual. It's got to be a strong, real strong, hellified strength of fortitude in you to turn back from that type of way of life once you get hooked to it. That's just not an easy lifestyle to just separate yourself from, especially after you done been into it for long periods of time. And so, I mean, it's like, man, it's something else, when you really think about that. And when I heard that the heart attack was based on the overdose, I said, oh man, not again. Cause I had been hearing times off and on over the years where he was falling off, back in and out of addiction and stuff like that, and in and out of jail and prison and stuff like that. But man, it's like, damn. And he left some children behind. He left a legacy behind far as his children, and hopefully they will, learn from his mistakes as far as what to do and what not to do, but also they would carry on the positive side of his legacy that he left behind. And I would say that to his children and the rest of his family, I am deeply, deeply, deeply sorry for your loss. And Yeah, because he was definitely a strong individual and a true inspiration in many ways that, some of your so-called, unquote, normal people in life ain't nowhere close to, and I'm going to repeat that again. He was an inspiration in a positive manner in various ways that so-called average normal people can come nowhere close to. And you know, he really I mean, I don't know if it ever be because he was one of a kind, and I don't never know if that his type will ever come around again like that. I really don't. Especially with all the fakery you got going on in the streets, all the hateration and fakeness and, snake moves that people be trying to really pull on each other now these days in the street. I don't really know if you ever see a real one like that come around again, where he would be so popular to even influence millions around the world, regardless of whatever he would do as a person that would constitute that influence. But like I said though, I'm just only looking at his characteristics as an individual, not as a celebrity, but since that's what he was, that somehow fell into that. But of course, like I said, he did not even cherish his own celebrity status. He wasn't even, and even in an interview when somebody was talking to him about that, he didn't even look impressed, or even and because I could even tell from the response that he was giving that he wasn't even impressed about all that. He was just one of those who tried to live a simple life. You know what I'm saying? In spite of making millions as being a rap musician, he just tried to live a simple life. Like someone said, critically, someone was saying that he, never wore gold chains and all that lavish looking jewelry that most of them rappers be wearing when they do make a little money. He wasn't not like that. That wasn't him. And I'm not knocking the other ones because that's what they was doing, but I'm just saying that wasn't him. And he wasn't, a showboater. He wasn't Flash Gordon. He was just straight up a brother from the streets called DMX. And, I don't think, that nobody could, respect that any more than you know what I'm saying? You can't, how much more can you respect that? I mean, really, so I'm like, I mean, damn. I just hate, like I say, that the man had to go. I mean, he could have enjoyed some time with his children, and he could have enjoyed probably some time with even seeing grandchildren who more than likely are on the way, But, I mean, damn. I mean, 50 is still kind of young, and like I said, I ain't nothing but a couple of years older than him, and so, but damn, we are pushing up there to the point where our health getting worse, and especially if we stay on them drugs, it don't do nothing but increase the more damage that our health already go through far as our bodies is concerned. So, I just really hate it, to really hear about that, as far as that went, and it just, you know, and I guess I'm taking this in a personal way too, because you know, the I met the man personally, you know, like millions of other people around the world or that encountered him, you know. So I mean, I guess that's maybe the reason why I'm feeling this way because of that personal moment of experience I had with the brother, you know. And not because I asked him for no autograph either, because I'm not that type. And like I said, living in New York City, I ran across a lot of celebrities who I didn't walk up to and ask for their autographs. Even if they was somebody that I might have admired in the past, I didn't walk up to them and ask them for no autograph. The most I might have did was probably shook their hand or whatever. But that's far as that went, you know. And I think because he even, matter of fact, I'm gonna tell you what he also said to me, which is one reason why I'm tripping in this video to me. He actually told me, he said, man, I like your style. Because I wasn't no celebrity crowder. Like the rest of them guys that was in the place of business where I had encountered him at. People all over him, oh man, hey, let me take a picture. Hey, DMA. I was cool, calm, collective, doing what I was supposed to do, minding my business, you know what I'm saying? And being serious on top of my game, and he recognized that. You dig? And like I said, nothing but real can recognize real, you know? And so, hey, that's far as that go, man. And but damn, yeah, we lost one. We definitely did lose one, I mean, hey, I can't, like I said, I really, I even think about the brothers sometime because I remember it was a movie he did with what's his name, Nas and Method Man and them back in the late '90s. Matter of fact, the movie was filmed right here in the state of Nebraska. It was called The Belly, you know. And so, and parts of it was filmed right in Omaha, which is an hour from where I live, So, yeah, I mean, you know, I mean, the brother, I guess that gives me another reason to remember him because I'm way out here in a place that many people, I guess, act like they don't know about or don't want to know about that do exist here right in the smack in the middle of the United States. And you don't see his type around here, all the time. So I guess that's why that memory of him even lingers on, and will rightfully do so, But of course, it was based on the lifestyle that he really lived in the streets. See, he wasn't one of them celebrities that acted or rapped about stuff that he didn't do. Like you got a lot of these other rappers today that do. You see what I'm saying? And that's another thing that I respect about the brother, you know? But anyway, and the people that was around him, even the ones that was around him in the Rough Riders crew, like that one brother, Y, who they interviewed in the BET documentary, you know, he seemed like he came off as a average brother from the streets, which he was, and he laid the cards on the table and be like, if it wasn't for them getting into that rap stuff, they was either headed to the penitentiary or the grave, So they had to pull each other up. And that's what I liked about that story. It wasn't about so much of them getting together, making money and becoming celebrities and this and that. It was about them keeping each other on their toes just by staying out the penitentiary or not going to their early grave. And that was the most thing that struck me from that documentary. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, like I said, I didn't do this video to get caught up in a celebrity status, actually. I just got into this video to really speak on the talking points that they made from where I identified with as I was watching the documentary. And also as, you know, I was looking at, you know, even where you know, that brother DMX still kept people, you know, close to him, even when he was fucking up. Like you say, on dope. Didn't nobody want nothing to do with him. And you know, I've been there. And of course, I identified with that too, you know. Cause I mean, you know, when you get caught up on that dope, man, I don't care who it is. Even your mama and daddy will forsake you. You know, don't nobody want nothing to do with you. You know, excuse me, as far as when you on that dope, don't nobody want nothing to do with you, period. You know, and sometimes even if you could come back from it, like some of us did, you know, they don't want nothing to do with you because they always gonna judge you and remember you from that part of your past, unfortunately. You know, which shouldn't be, but it is, which is the reality of it, you know. But I mean, it's like, man, I mean, I'm just saying, you know, it's not no game, man, you know, and that's why I don't, you know, cast judgment on people who do drugs, you know, although I don't tolerate they BS and what they doing, and nor do I want to be associated around them or what they doing, you know. But however, I don't judge them because I know that I come from that same cloth, you know. And when you know that you come from that same cloth and you don't, and you always keep that in the back of your mind that, hey, don't look down on somebody that you used to be like, you know, then you'll go a long way in life. And, you know, I would have to say that was the type of individual that DMX was, you know, toward the end of his life, which is why he had so many people standing out there in front of that hospital in New York, you know, rooting him on, helping to keep him encouraged before he took his last breath. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, you know, I mean, man, I mean, you know, look, I have to say, man, that with that said, you know, he was definitely an influence in many people's lives, and I hope that the little inspiration I do get from him, that I could be able to be an inspiration in someone's life in a positive way. And like I said, that's really the aspects of what I want to base this video on. And I hope that y'all, you know, got something from what I had to say on that note. And with that said, I'm gonna be out in 5,000. Peace.